Hello everyone, welcome to our virtual aptitude class from Prapti, CCC School of Aptitude. I am Akash and I'll be your trainer for this session. In this class, we'll be learning an important and interesting aptitude topic, ratios and proportion, which is very useful for placement exams and competitive exams like CAT, GATE, banking and more. And guys, we will use this concept in other quants topic as well, like percentages, profit and loss, simple interest and compound interest, averages, even in mensuration, competitions and combinations, and so on. So at least one question you will get based on ratios. So it is very important to learn this ratio concept in depth. So no need to worry. I'll explain the concepts in a simple and clear way, and we will also look at easy shortcuts and tricks to help you solve questions quickly and confidently. So before getting into the session, let us see first of all what are the types of questions you will come across in this ratio and proportion. Certain ratio-based problems and proportion-based problems and problems related to ages, and we'll see what is partnership. So first, we are going to see about ratio. So what do you mean by ratio? Ratio is nothing but comparing two quantities at the same time. So how we will express the ratio in a sense, we can express the ratios by this particular column or else with a fraction. And ratio can be used, as I told you, the colon is there, right? So how will you pronounce this colon? You will pronounce this colon as is to. This means ratio of A is to B as no unit, and it can be written as A is to B. There's no particular unit for the ratios. Just you will represent it as A is to B. So the numerator, so I have already told you, right? So A is to B is nothing but ratio or nothing but a least simplified fraction. So A by B. So this A will be your antecedent and B is nothing but consequent. When it comes to ratio, you will be having a type as duplicate ratio, triplicate ratio, subduplicate ratio, subtriplicate ratio, inverse ratio, and compound ratio. So these are the types we have in ratios. See, duplicate ratio is nothing but square the value. For example, if you are having 5 is to 2, what you will do, you will be squaring this as 25, 2 square is 4. So this is nothing but duplicate ratio. So duplicate is in a sense square. Triplicate is nothing but cube. So if it is 5 is to 2, now the cube value, what is 5 cube? 125, and 2 cube is 8. So this is my triplicate. If it is subduplicate, so square root. So 25 is to 4. What is the square root then? 5 is to 2. In the same manner, subtriplicate is cube root. So opposite of triplicate is subtriplicate. Opposite of duplicate is subduplicate. So now in the same manner, 125 is to 8. So that you will be getting 5 is to 2. So inverse ratio is nothing but reciprocal. For example, if you have 5 is to 2, the inverse ratio is 2 is to 5. And compound ratio is nothing but multiplying the antecedent over one value together and then multiplying the consequent over same value together. For example, you just imagine I am having 5 is to 2 and 6 is to 1. Okay. So compound ratio is nothing but multiplying the antecedent or else multiplying the numerator and multiplying the consequent or else multiplying the denominator together. 6 5s are 30. 2 ones are 2. So is that a ratio? No. Again, we can simplify this so that the answer will be 15 is to 1. So this will be my answer. So this is nothing but compound ratio. So these are the types of ratios we'll come across. So now let's get into proportion. Okay, so let me explain all the types and then we'll get into the question so that you'll get an idea. So what I mean by proportion, ratios we have seen. So now proportion. Proportion is nothing but proportion refers to a equality of two ratios or else comparing two ratios, we call it as proportion. So two equivalent ratios are always in proportion. So how we can, so ratios we denote with a symbol single column. So proportion we will be denoting with respect to double column. Okay. So this double colon, how we will pronounce it as, we will call it as is as, or else we can also pronounce it as equals to. Got it? So A is to B is equals to C is to D. So this corner, so A and D we call it as extremes, and this B and C we call it as means. So in a sense, A by B is equals to C by D. So if you cross multiply, simply what is the proportion? Product of extreme is equals to product of means. Did you understand? So this is nothing but proportion. Proportion is nothing but comparing two ratios. So now let's get into the types of proportion. We have two proportions, two general types. One is direct proportion and the other one is inverse proportion. So direct proportion describes a direct relationship between two quantities. And the best example what we can give is, if the speed of car is increased in a sense, it covers more distance, right? So it covers more distance within a given time. So if the speed of car is increased, within a given time, it covers more distance. So both will get increased. So we call it as direct proportion. Inverse proportion in a sense, one quantity increases and the other quantity decreases. Here both can increase together or else both can decrease together. Here if one is increased, the other will be decreased. That is nothing but inverse proportion. For example, if the speed of the vehicle is increased, okay, so it can cover the fixed distance within a short span of time, right? So here fixed period, here fixed distance. Here we are relating with the distance, here we are relating with the time. So that is a difference. Got it? So this is in general, we have types of proportions. Okay. What are the other proportion we'll come across? Let us see that as well. So those were very important. Mean proportion, third proportion, and fourth proportion. So coming to mean proportion. So here we have two definite variables, okay, with the constant variable. So in total, three variables are involved, okay. So A is to X is equals to X is to B. So we will be giving this value, X 4 and 16. So these are all definite value. We will be finding the constant X value. For example, if A by X, I mean A is to X, right? So this A is to X, I can write it as A by X is equals to X by B. So X square is equals to AB. Then X is equals to root of AB. So this is my mean proportion. In case of third proportion, so third proportion will be having three definite variables. We'll be having A, B, and C. All the values will be known value. We'll be finding the value of third variable, in a sense, variable C. For example, we just see A is to B, I can make it as A by B is equals to B by C. C is equals to B square by A. If they ask you to find the third proportion value, in a sense, you should go with this formula. Mean proportion, in a sense, you should go with X equals to root of AB. If it is a fourth proportion, now tell me. So third proportion, three variable. Fourth proportion, in a sense, four definite variable. In a sense, you will be having one more variable known as D. They will ask you to find what is the fourth proportion, in a sense, value of D. So very simple, the same manner, A is to B. So A by B is equals to C by D. So D is equals to BC by A. So this will be my fourth proportion value. Got it? So using these three only, you will be solving the entire proportion based question. And also in between, with respect to mean proportion or as third proportion, we will get some creative questions like subtraction, addition based question and all. So we'll see that when we are solving the exercise. Let's see what are the difference in this ratio and proportion. So as I told you, ratio is used to compare the size of two quantities. So you just see quantity, it is not quality, quantity. It is used to express the relation of two ratios. What it is proportion. And ratio can be expressed as a single column. Proportion will be expressed as a double column. And ratio we can refer it as expression, and proportion is nothing, somewhat it is an equation, because in the previous I hope you remember we have made it as an expression only, right? Sorry, equation, right? So that is what proportion. Now I hope everyone has understood the concepts of ratios and proportion. In the next video we'll see the types of ratio and proportion, and we'll solve questions based on each type. Thank you.